Hey, light beings, we're talking about predictions, but actually, we're talking about now the one consciousness, science, and spirituality. How we're using it, it is powerful, and you have access to it now. No, actually, you are it now. We're going to talk more about Edgar Cayce and the laws that he put in place. Now, if you didn't see that video on Edgar Cayce, I gave you the 12 laws that Edgar Cayce said exist for you. Yes, evil does exist, but yes, we're one consciousness, and yes, you're creating your reality. So today we're going to talk about all the centers in your body that are changing right now. We're going to talk about the Christ consciousness. What is it? How do we access it? We're going to talk about the Lord's Prayer. He was a religious man, but he stepped aside when he was making predictions and seeing our future. But we're going to talk about that future according to Cayce. What is it? You and I create it. We have some things happening out there with solar flares, potential earthquakes. You and I have more control over this than you can imagine. So are you ready to go into Edgar Cayce's 2026 spiritual awakening? He did predict that. And according to what's happening now, it looks like 2026 is our big breakout year. So stick with me. I've got some great stuff for you, and you're going to be able to understand what's going on with your body, work with it, and let's go into that beautiful golden era. It does exist because all realities do. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Ank on YouTube. I'm here to help you break through fear. What's breaking through fear mean? It's a part of the experience of the humans on this planet that are here to experience both the dark and the light. We're doing shadow work right now. What does that mean? In order to go into the new era, the golden era that Edgar Cayce and so many spoke of, it's a possibility, probability. It's still a choice. In order to go into it, we need to release those things, the baggage that's not allowed in that frequency, right? My father has many mansions. Well, on the top of that mansion is a penthouse. It's beautiful, and everyone is welcome, but you can't drag your dirty baggage up there. We're going to start to release that. What does that mean? What's shadow work? Well, we're going to work through some things that seem like things are not going well for you. Like, oh my gosh, I'm having aches and pains, and relationships are breaking up, jobs, maybe money issues. And I'm going to tell you that these are all transitions into something better. And I'll tell you why, because the universe is always giving you something better, but not if you're clinging to something old. And that would be the old earth with a low frequency, because you have patterns and beliefs and thoughts that are keeping you there. You can shift out of that, and I'm going to help you do that. I hope you will share my videos, because we're changing the algorithm of the planet. What does that mean? Our choices determine the frequency, therefore determine the reality we live in as a collective and individually. And that means every choice either takes you up or down. And so what we want to do is focus on that higher frequency, because the minute you go into something that's going to drag you down, and there's a lot of low frequencies working like crazy to keep you there. So we want to go into gratitude. We want to go into giving. We want to go into abundance. Whatever you think and believe, it will appear. So focus on that and change your personal algorithms. And you can change YouTube by giving me a thumbs up, subscribing, and sharing this, and letting people know there is a golden era happening right now. And if you're not experiencing it, well, what are you tuning into? So let's talk about the Edgar Cayce funnel analogy. What is the funnel analogy? All right, so the tip is the conscious mind. The conscious mind is represented as the narrow tip at the bottom of the funnel. And that's where most 3D humans are, where they're functioning, right? It's the stuff you do every day. It is not the essence of us, because the middle, the subconscious, serves as the middle section of the funnel. And that is where we have beliefs and patterns, and we pull in these energy fields, and then we start to explore our powers, but we're still stuck in this 3D world. And we have to recognize those shadows so that we can go into what? The superconscious mind. That is the ultimate place you want to be. That's where all things are possible, because nothing's getting in the way. All things are possible for you right now, but not if you don't believe it. Not if you're doing the same things over and over again that have kept you in a place you don't want to be in. I'm telling you, right now is the time to release it all. You know, it's really about self-value. And this is so true. If you don't love yourself first, what's loving yourself? because you are the essence of love. You are everything. So the most significant aspect of this model is the requirement of passage. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how that happens. And it's just not as easy as going, bing, I'm enlightened and the world's a wonderful place. In fact, some of you will get very depressed and have some weird bodily things going on that you think stuff's going bad and it's really not. It's the adjustment from that 3D world into something that's massive and expansive. And the physical body does take a toll. At some point, you're going to experience this. Somebody was saying, do you hear ringing? I do. Yes, that's part of it. We're actually picking up on the frequency. The Schumann resonance is changing thanks to you raising your frequency. One cannot go around the personal subconscious to reach the universal spirit. You can't go around it. You have to deal with it. Forgive yourself, forgive others, stop the judgment, the separation. These things are holding you back. And once you go into that superconscious, look out, because stuff is going to blow your mind. Let's talk about the shadow work. This is very important because this has to be done in order for all these other things to take place. Because the path to the superconscious leads through the subconscious, the patterns, the hate, the blame, Cayce taught that seekers must expect to encounter their own subconscious stuff. It's yours. You got to clean yours up first. Their unconscious desires, fears, and resentments. And I'm going through it too. I'm taking a look at myself and recognizing some things that I had no idea weren't necessarily, let's just say, of the highest frequency. And sometimes you think you're doing some really great stuff and you're thinking, I can do without that. Right? Sometimes we want to control the world because we want it to be better, but that's still ego wanting something. Releasing is the best thing you can do, and it starts here. We identify this subconscious as the shadow, which consists of the aspects of our personality we're ashamed or afraid of, right? Or we're not admitting to. Anything that separates you or judges is not oneness. And so the subconscious mind lives like a shadow. It's here. It's that dark side of you. It's always present. It's listening and remembering and occasionally making the frightening presence known through intuitions or unseen motivations. It will show up and you think you're all that until you get challenged and all of a sudden you find yourself saying things, doing things, getting angry that you didn't even know existed in you. It's time to deal with that. Purpose of the encounter. Cayce believed this profound encounter with ourselves is a necessary part of the spiritual journey. This is 2026, my friend, that we're going to pass through. By meeting and recognizing the evil or the bad within oneself, an individual can purge the soul body and become a fit companion for the Creator. Right? You got to let that go. Is this subconscious person that you are, is that a fit companion for the Creator that is all love? That loves you no matter what? The process is fundamentally a cleansing of the mind. Cayce emphasized that mind is the builder. If the mind is filled with mental trash like toxic thoughts and fear, it blocks the flow of creative energy and spiritual growth. And this is why some of you aren't going to the next level. You're still saying, I'm angry and I'm blaming and how do I get out of this? I'm like, you just stop thinking about it. Let it go. Illuminating the shadow is the first step toward reprogramming the mind for manifestation and joy. That's it. You just have to look at it and say, why am I hanging on to this? That's the Cayce's term for you are the co-creator. The mind is creating all of this. It's not that out there. There's no prediction that's going to happen to you. You're creating the prediction. And he said this. He gave predictions, yes, based on where our frequency in our mind was at that time as a collective. It was a warning. Many of these, Baba Vanga, Nostradamus, were warnings. This is what you're heading toward if you don't change it. So mind is the builder is the central axiom in Edgar Cayce's philosophy, representing the mechanism by which spiritual energy is transformed into material reality. You want to change your world right now? We can do it today. Let's do it today. You just have to understand this. In this framework, there's only one fundamental energy in the universe, the non-material spiritual life force, just one, and it's all things. It's you, it's me. Our thought is the builder to use this spiritual life force to bring it into a 3D material world. Yes, that's what's happening at every moment. That takes this raw life force and gives it a specific vibration, pattern, or form. So whatever vibration you're on, right? If you're wishing something evil or bad, it's coming in on that frequency. Watch it. This is why it's very important to go into meditation and stay in a high frequency, whether it's the state of your health, your relationships, your environment, is the result of your mental patterns. Thoughts are things and deeds. Cayce taught that thoughts are not merely fleeting electrical impulses, but mighty forms of energy that have weight and substance, and it's intelligent. It's not just formulate, it's all intelligence beyond what we can imagine. Energy impressions, every thought makes an immediate impression on the universal consciousness. Immediate. Often referred to as the Akashic records, acting like a stylus that leaves a permanent mark on the fabric of time and space. Okay? And you can change it. You can transform it. Karmic seeds. Thoughts are viewed as seeds planted in the fertile soil of the subconscious because like begets like. A mind dwelling on hate or malice will build warning conditions in the body and in the world, while a mind dwelling on spiritual ideals will build a reality of peace and harmony. This must be our focus. You will see that world changing out there. And those in power, you think, oh, they're evil, they're doing whatever. There are going to be some changes happening there that may surprise you. And all of a sudden, things are going to look very different. But we must focus on this first. So building the body in health, the principle of mind as the builder has profound implications for health, continuous rebuilding. He asserted that our bodies are continuously being rebuilt, with every cell replaced within a 7-year cycle. So there's nothing you cannot change, right? All things are possible. Determining the pattern, the mind determines whether the body replaces its cells with the same old tendencies and illnesses or with new patterns of health. Have you heard of epigenetics? This is real stuff. You can actually change your genetic makeup. Habits of mind, ingrained habits of thought often block the body's natural potential for rejuvenation. For example, the mere mental expectancy that we must age. If the mind has no spiritual ideal, such as love or oneness, it defaults to building based on material desires, which leads to conflict, instability, and dis-ease. By consciously choosing a spiritual ideal, an individual shifts their intentionality, allowing the mind to see and create opportunities for growth where it previously saw only obstacles, because the material world is not expansion. It's just stuff. So what are the 7 endocrine centers in Cayce's system? We're going to go into that now. In Edgar Cayce's system, human experience is understood through 7 spiritual centers that act as the connection between the infinite soul and the finite physical body. Each of these spiritual centers, known as chakras, has a physical representation in the body through the endocrine glands. Now let's go into detail in this. The 7 endocrine centers from the lowest to the highest are the gonads, the reproductive glands. Oh, God, what a silly term. The testes in males and the ovaries in females, which Cayce identified as the first spiritual centers. If you know where your chakras are, you know exactly where this starts. He taught that the creative life force, Kundalini, has its origin and primary impetus in this center. The cells of Leydig, located within the reproductive and adrenal glands, these cells are linked to the masculine feminine balance and the movement of creative energy upward through the system. So it starts down there and it moves upward. And we must start focusing on these chakras. You can clear them out. The adrenals, these glands are the physical manifestation of the 3rd center. The thymus, located in the chest, the thymus represents the 4th spiritual center. The thyroid, this gland located in the neck, corresponds to the 5th spiritual center. The pineal gland, often the 3rd eye or the hidden eye in the center of the brain. The pineal gland is the 6th spiritual center. It is the center through which precognitive and clairvoyance are often manifested. And the pituitary, the 7th, is the highest spiritual center located in the brain. It is considered the master gland and the primary point of contact with the spiritual realm. So the transducers of energy, these centers function as transducers, which means they regulate and convert the infinite energy of the soul into the physical energy required for the body to function. So we have to get these two things in sync. Treat your body well, quit putting garbage in it. Go down into my description. I got all kinds of things for you to stop using plastic and toxic things. We have to start working on this. It's going to be very important. The storehouse of patterns, they act as a storehouse for patterns of consciousness, all right? It's stored in the chakras. This is why we must clear it out, where thoughts, feelings, and even past life memories are held and then expressed in the body. We have seen people that are born with marks or defects and have carried things forward. Maybe they got shot in the Civil War, and these things are real. The energy comes with you. Meditation and healing. In Cayce's approach to meditation, the individual focuses on a high spiritual ideal to raise the vibration of the life force from the lower centers, reproductive, to the high centers, pineal and pituitary. Okay? Spiritual mappings. Cayce even associated specific lines of the Lord's Prayer, we're going to do that next, with the opening and awakening of these individual centers to help seekers connect with the divine. So, what is the Lord's Prayer connection to these centers? We're going to finish up with this, but there's so much more to go over. In Edgar Cayce's philosophy of the Lord's Prayer, it's viewed as more than a religious petition. It is described as a spiritual mantra designed to awaken and open the body's 7 spiritual centers, all right, and their corresponding endocrine glands. Each line of the prayer is specifically keyed to a particular center, and when used in meditation, it helps raise the creative force from the lower physical centers to the high spiritual ones. Word. In the beginning was the Word. So let's talk about specific connections and mappings. In the lines of the prayer, they correspond to the 7 centers in the following order. You ready for this? 1. Our Father who art in heaven connects to the 7th pituitary center, the master gland, and highest spiritual point in the brain. All right? Hallowed be thy name corresponds to the 6th pineal center, often called the third eye. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, awakens the 5th thyroid center in the neck. Give us this day our daily bread relates to the 1st gonad center, which is the lowest spiritual center and the origin of all creative life force. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Activates the 3rd adrenal center. Lead us not into temptation, connects to the 2nd cells of Leydig center located in the lower abdomen. You guys know where that is. But deliver us from evil corresponds to the 4th thymus center in the chest. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. This closing sequence serves to reactivate the 5th, 6th, and 7th centers sequentially. So the purpose of this connection, all right, because I'm not a Bible reader and I don't really connect all this stuff because it's been manipulated and changed so much. Cayce taught that simply reciting the words is insufficient for spiritual enlightenment. So just so you know, you just can't just say the words, oh, this is going to take care of itself. The power lies in experiencing the meaning of each line while focusing on the corresponding area. Awakening potential. When an individual deeply feels the meaning, for example, truly feeling forgiveness while reciting that specific line, it triggers an opening of the center and awakens the spiritual potential residing there. Energy flow. This process creates a flow of meanings throughout the physical body, which Cayce equated to the bread ye know not of mentioned by Jesus. Healing and balance. By attending to these mental representations, the individual builds positive patterns into the physical body, coordinating the endocrine and nervous systems to restore health and spiritual alignment. The prayer acts as a bridge, allowing the earth, the 4 lower energy centers, to be brought into alignment with heaven, these 3 upper centers. So what is the Christ consciousness mentioned in the readings? In the Edgar Cayce readings, Christ consciousness, this is a state of being. It's not a person, because Christ was the ultimate of all things, right? Jesus was the person. The Christ consciousness is what he transformed into while he was here, proving it can be done. Christ consciousness is defined as a universal state of awareness and a spiritual power that exists as a potential within every human soul. It is fundamentally the awareness of the soul's oneness with God. So the Christ consciousness, it exists within you right now. And it's that third space, that superconscious mind that connects to all things and performs miracles. Do not discount the shadow and the darkness that we spoke about earlier. These are all part of the oneness. It comes together in unity. This consciousness is not something external to be acquired. It's already resident in the unconscious mind of every soul, every person. It's already here. It remains knowable through the inner consciousness rather than through external pursuit. And so many of us, bring it to me, it's right here. Pull off the blankets and you'll see what's underneath it all. The ultimate spiritual ideal, Cayce frequently urged seekers to adopt the universal Christ as their spiritual ideal. Setting this ideal involves aspiration, inwardly reaching for its qualities, and trust, which is the willingness to let go of doubt and believe in one's divine origin. Some of you just don't believe that's what you are. Your choices determine everything. It's not attained by faith or works alone, but by being, doing in a way that manifests the love of God through service to others. Unity, community, oneness. At its core, Christ consciousness is the awareness of the oneness of all life. In this state, an individual's desires and abilities are brought into at-one-ment with universal forces. Cayce taught that meditation is the primary discipline for emptying self of hindrances and raising the internal vibration to contact this consciousness. By focusing on the Christ ideal, individuals can cleanse their mental body and align their physical atoms with the will of the Christ Spirit. And you can give it a name, whatever name that makes you comfortable. Some of you don't like these names or even the Lord's Prayer because you associate it with religion, which has really not been our friend. So how did Jesus attain the Christ consciousness? He had a long cycle of incarnations. This is what Edgar Cayce said. His soul underwent a series of lifetimes to reach perfection. And so did you. So go easy on yourself, but you're here at this time in 2026 that are transforming us into that new era. We've been around forever. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. You have been here many, many times in other forms, and now it is time for you to transform. Everyone has that ability. Everyone on this planet is in that position to do it. There's no soul that's behind everyone because that can change in an instant, right? You have to make that decision, but it is a personal free will choice. His journey was not limited to Earth. Here's Edgar Cayce saying this. He didn't believe this stuff as Edgar Cayce, the man. Jesus achieved perfection by moving through various planetary systems and planes of existence. He returned to Earth. Oh, thank you. To volunteer on a voluntary mission to demonstrate the way for the rest of humanity. He was showing, I can do this. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's possible. It's not an easy path, right? The ultimate pattern. Through this process, he became the life pattern for all souls to emulate, showing that any soul, no matter how far it's strayed, can enter the Holy of Holies and regain its celestial birthright. Cayce emphasized that this path to perfection was not a shortcut. Jesus endured the same trials of body and of mind, and the cross that every soul must eventually face and overcome through patience and sacrifice. This is what you're experiencing, and it doesn't have to be so extreme. So if you follow this path, you go into meditation, you will access everything that exists right now for you. And Edgar Cayce has taught this, but we've been so focused on him telling us what's going to drop off into the ocean or burn up or everything else. And we don't realize that by going through this process, all of that will change too, because we and it are one. We actually control that. Why? Because we have free will to create whatever reality we desire. And you and I hold that power right now in this critical time. What are you placing your attention to? So please go down to my description. Stop using plastic. Stop putting toxins in your house, in your body. Stop giving your children anything that's going to pollute this planet. Teach them to respect our planet, and things will change because they want that too. So I send you light and love. I hope those of you who haven't purchased my book yet, it was a download of information that you have access to, and it could make perfect sense to you. It might be the last spiritual book you ever have to read. It's just so simple. And also, again, I hope you'll subscribe, share my videos, and let people know that we have work to do. It's just not going to happen to you. There's no prediction or future that happens to you. We're now creating all of it. And you have free will to change your life in any way you desire. I'll see you in the next video. Let me know what you want me to shoot more videos on. I've been exploring a lot of different areas, as you know, but all of it comes down to one message. You hold the power. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.